Out on my daily walk over here on the rails to trails along the water, just reminiscing how I have gone from 0 to over 1 million followers in 6 months. And it's like absolutely overwhelming. And I wanted to actually share this with you guys because honestly, I am like the least likely guy to have ever done this. And the main reason I want to share it is because if you have had an inkling that you may want to go down this road and jump into the social media fray, like, do it. Because if I can do it, 110% you can do it. I mean, I was the guy who, if someone was taking a picture of me at a birthday party, I would tell them I was in the witness protection program because I didn't want it posted anywhere. Yeah, over 1 million followers. I think I've kind of had to give that up. And it's really just been an absolutely incredible journey. And I just wanted to kind of go through step by step in hopes of maybe you picking up some pointers that we've learned along the way, and the things that have been successful for us and the things that maybe haven't been quite as successful, and just give you an idea of how, if it's something that you have an aspiration to do, the bottom line is you just got to get out and do it. So for about 3 years, my oldest son has been pushing me to jump on the social media platforms. And now, we're on all three, and those over 1 million followers, of course, are across all the platforms at this point. But I have resisted it to no end just because of my unwillingness to be out there and put myself in the public eye, if you will. 6 months ago, my sons and I were up at our cabin in the country. It was late January, and we're sitting in the kitchen, and a TikTok commercial comes on, and it's Brian Hofflinger, who is just a phenomenal guy, and I'll weave him into all of this because he's a big part of my success as we move forward. But the commercial comes on, and my son Max says, "Dad, you can do that." And I'm like, "Do what?" She's like, "Dad, you can do what he has done." And I said, "Max, no one cares what I have to say." Max is like, "Number one, you're wrong. Give me a month of posting every day, and let's see what happens. If we get traction and you're enjoying it, and it's a positive experience, then we keep rolling. If it's not, we blow the whole thing up, no harm, no foul." And I'm like, "Oh, Max, no, you know how I feel about all this. It's not for me. Absolutely not." He sat there for a minute and kind of looked at me, clearly disappointed. And he said, "Dad, you think that social media is toxic?" And I said, "Absolutely, I do." He said, "Fine." He goes, "Then why don't you do something positive instead of just bitching about it all the time?" I went, "What am I supposed to say? No, I don't want to do anything positive?" I said, "Absolutely. Okay, what do we got to do?" And this is how it started. You got to post every day. You got to do something that's authentic and meaningful. And we'll do it for a month, and we'll see what happens. And I grabbed my phone, and I headed out the door in the country, and I started my first post, which I will tell you in retrospect was unequivocally the most difficult part of the whole thing. Just getting started, like just getting out there and doing it. You're turning the camera on and watching yourself talk, and you're self-conscious, and am I saying anything worthwhile, and does this make any sense, and all those kinds of things. It's like, just get out there and do it. And I came back to the house, and I emailed it to Max, and I said, "There you go. There's your first post." And straight on social media, right to TikTok. And it was so weird to have like 8 views and 2 likes and a comment. I was like, what the heck? Like, who wants to watch this? It doesn't even make sense to me. Max is like, see, I told you, there's people out there that want to see this stuff, that they're interested. This is stuff that you do every day. You're a cardiac surgeon. You've been doing it for 25 years. You know, people are interested in what you're doing. People are interested in how you do it, how you live your life, all those kinds of things. And, you know, I still was very hesitant, but I made a commitment. I want to do something positive. And really, as Max and I kind of sat down and talked about, you know, what are our goals? What's the mission of all this? It's really to create content that makes medical and healthcare information accessible and relatable to everyone. And that was kind of where we came from. So continued to post, and you know, I got excited when 50 people watched and 60 people and 40, and it didn't really matter. It was just kind of, I was learning. I had never been in this space. I had no idea what to expect or what I was doing, or, you know, how to even really go about it. Because of note, I have a fear of public speaking. I kind of do well in the small group setting, but like you put me into a large group setting and like I'm sweating right now because it's 92 degrees outside in South Georgia. But you can put me in an air-conditioned room with all the lights low with about 300 people and it looks just like this. At least it used to. Because one of the things that I've really learned through this whole experience is really how to formulate thoughts as you are talking off the cuff, if you will. And one of the ways that I've learned to do that is to actually slow my speech cadence just behind my thought process. And it's made a huge difference. And one of the very interesting unintended consequences of all this is as I continued to post and we got a little more traction, I came to realize that what was really popular were not the posts that I sat down and like spent 4 days planning and storybooked out and what have you. It was the ones that I woke up in the morning and I was like, this is important. This is what I want to talk about, and just brain dump it to social media in a very conversational way. That's really what people want. So about 3 weeks into it, we posted a video about vaping and the risks and the dangers of vaping, which is something that I deal with kind of the in-game result of on a lot of patients because of the severe lung injury that these patients have. We end up taking care of them in the intensive care unit and what have you. So it's a lot of young kids that come in, and I've got, you know, 3 kids, and so it's pretty close to home. So I felt like it was something really important for me to get out there. Well, man, oh man, it just, as my boys say, went dummy. I just learned that word too. Just went crazy. I mean, it really did. I think currently it's got like over 30 million views, but it jacked over 1 million views like within the first 12 hours that it was posted. And it kind of scared me a little bit. I have to tell you, like, you know, you kind of have this anonymous life. You know, you're just kind of throwing out some information. You see what happens, and then you start thinking, wow, there are 1 million people that have now sat and watched this information that I put out there. It's like you're like, oh, wait a minute, is this really what I want to do? My wife's freaking out. She's like, I don't want to be famous. I was like, I don't think we're famous. We just got 1 million views. It's all good. But it was really like, you know, we kind of clicked along again, posting every single day, just, you know, sweeping the dust off the floors every day. The dust get on there, we'd sweep the dust off, posting until finally something just, I mean, absolutely soared, which really was our initial kind of traction that we got that gave us the motivation to keep pushing forward. And came home that afternoon and I said, Max, we got to reach out to Brian Hufflinger and tell him thank you, because he was really our inspiration to do this. You know, we're sitting there cooking lunch with each other, and he came on the television. Here we are. I said, let's just tell him thank you. And so we did, and dropped him an email, you know, thanks for the motivation to get us to our first 1,000,000 views. And he answered immediately. And I was like so taken aback, because he's like my, you know, social media hero. Here he is on television, you know, as the TikTok guy. And he was like, oh my God, Jeremy, you know, this is so great. You know, you're doing great stuff. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this is awesome. So we kind of started a relationship, and I said, hey, you know, I'm a cardiac surgeon in Savannah, you're a neurosurgeon. We're kind of, you know, both in high stress specialties. We should connect with each other. And so we did. I said, you know, if nothing else, I just really want to get some advice from you. And on our first phone call, his advice to me was really interesting. And he said, if I can just give you one piece of advice, remain humble. And that really resonated with me. And the way that I kind of digested that, translated it, and then consequently, you know, actuated it in my own social media profile was as follows. You know, I really wanted, and continue to want, my personality to match my persona on social media, because I think that maintains a level of authenticity that resonates with people. In fact, my very wise son, once again, knows how to motivate his dad, doesn't let me put the apps on my phone initially. And I still don't have a couple of them on my phone. And I was like, Max, you know, I want to see. He's like, quit worrying about the views, quit worrying about the followers, stop. He said, Dad, I want you to post stuff every day that you're proud of. And that's it. He goes, don't start reading all of the comments and going down the hate rabbit hole and everything else, because what that will do is it will force you to try to conform the information that you're posting to what you think your audience wants to hear. But the reality is they want to hear what you have to say, because the algorithm is the algorithm, and that's what I'm learning. And that's very difficult, you know, for someone with a relatively scientific mind like myself. I think that, you know, if I sit down and I do this really good job and I'm giving this really good information, that's going to hit. You just don't know. You just don't know. The last thing that I really want to mention is this whole idea about posting fatigue, because it takes a great deal of consistency, concentration, and persistence to post every single day. But the really, really cool thing about social media, and the thing that I really want to drive home with you, is that even when you're not seeing success, even when you're not seeing the traction, remain persistent, because it's not 3 strikes and you're out after 3 posts that don't hit. It's unlimited times at bat, and you just have to continue to post. Something is going to hit. It may be early, it may be bid, it may take you a year to get there. We've been very fortunate, and I realize that, but I wanted to share just these few points. Stay humble, stay authentic, stay consistent, and I promise you, you're going to win.